Natasha.
Hello.
You're a ball of sparkles, just like Megan, your rep. I think you're awesome.
Thank you so much.
Can you introduce yourself?
Yes. Hello. My name is Natasha Brewer. I am with Perkins Eastman in Los Angeles, California. I've been working at Perkins Eastman for the past 10 years throughout my career. Some of the projects that we focus on our typologies are performing arts in theaters, colleges and universities, so it's higher education, and also library practices and adaptive reuse and historical preservation.
You do it all.
I do it all. I love to do it all. And I like to keep things interesting and mixed up.
Yes.
So that's just part of design and just part of, I think, life. Like you always want to keep elevating and evolving.
Yes. And so much variety, too. Like variety makes things interesting.
Yes. Love the interest. Yes.
Well, we had such a great time together. And I want to know, what are your big takeaways? We talked a lot about people, place, and purpose and mentorship and how to get real. Like, what were your biggest ahas or takeaways from our time together?
Yes, great. Thank you so much. Well, truthfully speaking, the connection. I've never met anyone here except my buddy, Megan Plant, who was so gracious enough to let me experience this with her and all you all. And it was so interesting how we all had so many things in common, whether we're at, different places or the same places in our career, the challenges that we might, deal with in the workplace, whether that's, on a more professional level or even personal, So it was really interesting to see how much we had in common and how well we were able to interact and just have these real, truthful conversations. It's like it really sparked so much interest in me and wanted to be more engaged.
Yeah.
And because I felt I could be vulnerable.
Yeah.
I could really be myself. I was around my people. I'm here, as I mentioned to you earlier, I felt at home. And so for me, it's the deeper connection, with being able to talk with people, express yourself, and not feel like, oh, there's a consequence behind anything. There's going to be a repercussion if I say the wrong thing. And it's like, no, this is a time where everyone is actively speaking, actively listening, and I think I made some great connections here and was able to successfully network. So I would say just imagine a place. It's just like I never imagined that I would be able to experience something like this on this trip here. Yeah.
Well, it's the connectivity. And what's cool is we brought designers from all over.
Yes.
You're LA. We have someone from Dallas, New York, DC, Atlanta, Chicago. And the beauty of that is the diversity of voices, the diversity of perspectives of firms. But then vulnerability came so fast because I think we realized, like you said, that we're all so similar and so different, but so similar in so many ways. And vulnerability can be hard, but you got to get there, right?
Absolutely.
To make change.
Absolutely. I always say you have to take a risk.
Yes.
To get ahead.
Ooh.
Always. So just trust the process, trust that being uncomfortable is not a bad thing. You're not going to grow if you're comfortable, So I think that's something that's so great. Like the walls came down when we came together and, I felt like there was growth between all of us here today and the day before. And so, it was just a really amazing time to really engage and connect. And I have so many ideas now that, from talking to a lot of the other designers and reps here that, I want to go back and share with our colleagues. So,
what are what's the first thing you're going to share?
The first thing I want to share is just talking more about the vulnerability aspects and the psychological safety.
So big.
It is huge. It is so paramount that no one is perfect. We don't have all the answers, but we are a team. So when we had the exercises of working together with teams and doing the exercise of the scavenger hunt. That was such a great team building exercise where we were able to connect with one another, bounce ideas off of one another within the responses. And we encouraged each other, and it was just so much empowerment in the room and the inspiration and motivation. Like it was just everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we forget to stop and have conversations because it's in those moments, in those conversations where people step out and they're brave in vulnerability. And we don't stop to have those enough. So I'm so glad that you're sitting with me right now. But we developed these new cards which we're using to talk to guests. And it really focuses around career and growth and people and purpose and design and creativity. So we have these categories that we're discussing. And I want you to pick a card in front of you and you're going to read the card and answer the question.
Okay.
Can you do that?
Let's it.
Let's go.
Yes. Okay. So I am going to select design and creativity.
Okay. Why design and creativity?
That's just what speaks to me first. Right?
Go for it.
Okay, great. So the question is, when you walk into a space, what's the first thing you notice?
Oh.
Yes, this is a great question. The first thing I notice is lighting. Because lighting can make or break your space.
Yes.
It is always the jewelry to this. It's the last thing that, sometimes people think about or sometimes don't think about. And like I said, it's the mood you want to create, and a lot of the thing about being a designer and being creative is how is the end user going to perceive and use the space? How are they going to function? How is it going to make them feel? How are they connected? So if the lighting is, too bright or too white, or it's just, it feels sterile, or everything else can fall flat.
Yep.
And that's not the energy that you wanted to create when you design your space, you know. So versus if you have some ambient lighting here, a little bit of more warmth there, and just playing on different types of design and temperatures, to create an overall mood, to exude the feeling that you want your end users to capture.
Ooh, I like that because it's all about a feeling. Design is a feeling that you get when you enter a place, and lighting is so important.
Yes.
So actually, that's something I often forget about when I go into spaces, though, is the lighting. But it's the first thing you notice when it's bad.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You get a headache. It feels harsh.
Yes.
And, you can't stay in that room because the lighting's awful.
Yes.
So to the counterpart of that, if you don't get it right, it can ruin a space.
Exactly. And then as a designer and to the end user, like we were talking about earlier about, when you have clients that can share with you, their comments and feedback, and it's things feel a little off, and sometimes, yes, it could have just been the lighting, and sometimes it could be a simple change, and so for me, definitely that is the first thing that I notice when I walk in a space. Yes.
I love that I love that perspective because I often say the furniture is the jewelry of a space. Of course, I'm a furniture person.
Yes. Well, they're both, but for
they're
me,
both. You're right.
Yes, the first is lighting.
I love that you said that.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to pick your next card.
Okay.
What category? Do you want career and growth or people and purpose?
Let's do career and growth.
Career and growth.
Yes.
Natasha, what gets you the most excited about your work?
Oh, this is such a great question. The most excited.
The lighting.
Yes, it does. Can you tell that I definitely am obsessed a little bit with lighting? I would say the most exciting is working with a team. Having the opportunity to work on so many different project typologies. My teams are constantly changing. I might work with 2 different teams a day. I might work with 5 different teams in one day. So it's just, again, coming back to connecting with people, right? So being able to, lead our interiors and to manage our interiors, and also to encourage the emerging professionals to let them know, yes, let's take these risks, let's take these chances. Okay, but we still have codes, we still have a budget,
Yeah.
But let's not let those things constrain us, and it's being heavy in the mentorship, and heavy on leadership. and just paving a way to pay it back. I always said to myself, once I get to the level where I can give and pour into others what I didn't receive, like then I know that for me, that's when I feel like I have made it.
Yeah.
Right. And I know that's going to be continuous. So I am going to keep going and going and going, you know, and I think just part of your career is it's just not singular.
Yeah.
You know, it's a holistic view. It's a team. It's a village.
Yeah. Well,
Villages.
clearly, yeah.
Yes.
You're a collaborator. You're
Yes.
a community person. Okay. People and purpose card. Are you
Okay.
ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Who is a client, colleague, or collaborator that truly influenced your work?
This is a really hard question. So if I had to just pick one person, it would have to be a colleague. And it's a peer of mine that I probably met within 10 years in the industry. And we were so similar. So I always called her my sister from another mister. Just all of our views and perspectives about, you know, the profession and the things that we had gone through, which she was also another woman of color, you know. And so, you know, it's very diverse background and things like that. I hate to say this, the battles, the challenges that we had to go through, like
Absolutely.
to prove ourselves, you know, and work sometimes 10 times harder. But we formed like a great alliance. We were able to partner on projects, and you know, like we killed it.
Good
so
for
it
you.
was such an
Sisterhood.
amazing sisterhood, all the way. And so what was really great about that relationship and connection that was not just professional is that we were able to kind of reshape the way that some of our other colleagues had, you know, perceived, you know, people of different diverse backgrounds. They were more open now to engage and, you know, openly communicate and also be vulnerable, you know, with us. And we were able to quickly gain their trust, you know, and to, you know, creating more beauty, more functional spaces, and just like overall, you know, just build strong teamwork and a foundation of overall collaboration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I often think about, as a woman of color, I'm possibly the first time someone has interacted with someone like me in a certain way, whether that's in a meeting or on a podcast or, you know, like it's almost like it's a privilege, right? To be in those shoes, but also it's very humbling to know that you're paving a path not only for yourself, but teaching people around you about you're a person, you're a human, you have thoughts and needs and cares and desires, and just because of what you look like doesn't define who you are. But to be able to show people, you're Natasha, you're incredible, and also be that for other women of color who are coming up in the industry.
Yes.
That's such an incredible privilege that I can tell you value.
Absolutely.
As do I.
Yes, absolutely. Like it's so important that young women in general, you know, it's letting them know that the world is at your fingertips. Whatever you believe in, whatever you have faith in, you can make possible. You know, you just have to continuously work hard at things, and being consistent, being persistent. I have a little quote that I say, the 5 P's: proper preparation prevents poor performance, you know.
Oh, I
so
like
it's
that.
just, so it's just being
We need to
prepared.
write that down.
Yeah, write it down. It's just great, you know, and just to be able to be in front of younger women, you know, and educating them.
Yeah.
Letting them know that anything is possible.
Yes.
Anything is possible. Do not let fear steal your joy, right? Just take the risk, learn from it, you know, and grow from it.
And know that you belong in every room that you are in.
Absolutely.
There's,
you're meant to be at the table.
Yes, as long as you're there, you're meant to be there.
Yes.
And something else you said earlier that I loved was that the way you lead is different than people in front of you. Like you're making up for things that you didn't get in your career as a mentor and a leader. And I think that's such a powerful comment, because so many people take that trauma or those issues or how they were treated in their career and they pass that on to others. And I think our generation is saying, no, that's not how you treat us. We're doing something different and we want to lead in a new way. And I think it's so powerful to be able to see what you didn't get and to be able to provide that for others.
Absolutely. I'm a strong advocate for no, that is in the past. We need to be progressive, move forward, and we need to learn people. We need to observe, we need to still do some testing, trial and error about things. And it's not just one size fits all. Everything isn't all figured out in one box. And here's the playbook, here's the guidebook, here's all the answers for you. No, it's a matter of, really understanding the people who are around you.
Yes, understanding.
Yes, it's all about understanding and active listening.
Yes, I say to my son every day, you need to listen more than you speak. And he's 5, but you got to plant those seeds.
Yes, listen to understand.
Yes. Natasha, I love your energy and your passion and just what you bring to the design community, to the world. I think it's so powerful what you represent and what you speak of so passionately. So thank you so much for being part of this conversation, for adding to our community, and for also continuing to build a beautiful community that you're part of.
Thank you so much. I was so happy to be here, and this has been an amazing experience.
Thank you.
Yes.